Welcome into the draft profile for Derrick Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. And guys, this is probably one of my favorite prospects in the class. This is one of my guys. I feel like Derrick Harmon is 6'4.5", 313 pounds, long arms, just giant, huge human, and built really well. I think he looks great for his size. He holds his size pretty well. Maybe has a couple extra pounds on him that he doesn't need, but that's to be expected. I'd be eating extra hamburgers too if I was filling out that frame. Look, let's go ahead and get straight into the skill chart for you guys and break down who Derrick Harmon is. And really, when I look at Derrick Harmon, obviously, the first thing you're going to talk about with a big defensive tackle is how is he versus the run. Yeah, he's great. Play strength is awesome. His leverage at an 8 is really good. He's going to be able to 2-gap. He's going to be able to do all the things that you expect, your big physical 3 tech, or maybe even I wouldn't shade him over the nose, I don't think, but he can play odd even fronts. He can play kind of all across that interior defensive line. He's got the athleticism for it. He's got the size for it. He's got the power for it. He can do a lot of different things depending on where he lands and what he's asked to do in any kind of specific defense. All right. Now, I have a ideal landing spot for him, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. What I want to talk about now is that combination of the ability to stop the run, like I mentioned, and rush the passer. To me, this is the best player in the class when you talk about the blend of both. All right. The athleticism isn't otherworldly by any means. At a 6, it's really good. I think it's really impressive for his size. He can move really well. He doesn't have insane burst off the line or anything, but at a 5.8, it's good. It's not insane, but it's good. It's NFL average, especially for his position. This is one of the classic fuck the play up guys. If you ever watch Chris Sims, he always talks about the interior defensive linemen or defensive linemen in general that don't get the stats. They don't get the love for all the things that he does to mess up the play for the offense, and Derrick Harmon has a lot of that, and it comes from the combination of obviously the strength, the power, and the athleticism to make plays in the backfield. And while he may not get it on the stat sheet, he may not make the play, he's blowing the play up, he's causing the running back to redirect, and then he has the rest of his teammates coming not far behind to finish the play. I think there's a lot of that on his tape as well. And this is a guy that transferred from Michigan State to play at Oregon and really just blew up this past year, played with a level of intensity, a level of a ferociousness that I don't think I can even really portray on this skill chart accurately, to be 100% honest, because he just plays with a level of grit and fire that I love, that I think it's more of an intangible thing. It's more of a just like eye of the beholder almost for me, but I do think it's real, and I do think it's an aspect of his game that I think teams are just going to fall in love with. I really do, and I think he has all the traits and the skill sets to be a top 20 pick. I think that's really just what put him over the edge for me of like, man, this dude, there's just no way this dude isn't good in the NFL. There's no way that this dude doesn't find himself in a good spot. A lot of creative defensive coaches could utilize him in a lot of different ways. Obviously, he's going to have to still play interior, but he can do a lot of different things within the interior of that defensive line. And then, like I said, at motor at an 8.7, I already mentioned obviously just the way he plays the game, but I did want to point out that was where I put I did take that into account with this grade specifically. I juiced it up more than I ever have for any other player, but I kind of look at that as, especially on the defensive side of the ball, to me, there's a level of intensity that certain guys play with that has to be talked about, has to be graded out. You have to have some kind of data point for it. So, I feel like motor's as good of adjective as any to kind of throw that in that bucket and give that as my definitive way to just give credit to a player that plays the game in a way that I really respect and I really love. Looking at flexibility and bend, and obviously for a defensive tackle, this isn't can you turn the corner grade? This is more, can you kind of squeeze through those double teams to shoot upfield? I didn't see a ton of that. I did think he was kind of stiff. His lower body's stiff in general. You're giving up some of that high-end athleticism for the size and power that Harmon brings to the table, but ultimately I think it's a really good blend of both. I think immediately you're getting a guy who improves your run defense from day one, and on top of that has the ability to be the be, like I said, the fuck the play up guy. He's going to be able to penetrate into the backfield and cause havoc for offenses, all right, especially in the run game, but even in the pass game too. He's going to do a lot of things there. Now, I mentioned that I had an ideal spot for him. It's a little bit of a pipe dream based on what they drafted last year, but I do think it fits a need for him, and I just love to see him playing in a Mike McDonald defense. I would. The Seattle Seahawks, they do need help on defense. I think, obviously, Byron Murphy was a great pick. I'm a big fan of his. I loved him last year. I thought he played really well down the stretch for them in his first season in the NFL, but ultimately, I think if you could possibly put those two together, I mean, it'd be insane. I would absolutely love it. That wasn't really my first thought there. My first thought was just, no, I want him on a defensive line in a defensive scheme that's going to be creative, that's going to move him around a little bit, ask him to do a lot of different things, because I think he does a lot of different things that are really, really high level. I think he can be one of those guys that can be utilized on all three downs in a variety of different ways, right? Do you need him to two-gap one play and allow your linebackers, to fly up the field from the lanes that you opened up? Yeah, he can do that. Let him take on some double teams, let him drop the anchor, and he's good. He's all set. Do you need him to, shoot the gap and fly upfield? That's not his skill set. That's not what I think he's going to make a living doing in the NFL, but I think he can do it on passing downs when it's all about, hey, we need to collapse the pocket as quickly as we fucking can, all right? Now, especially if there's a blitzer or something, yeah, dude, it's gonna get fun, man. I really believe in his ultimate upside. I really believe he's gonna be a lot of fun to watch in the NFL. But that's one of my guys. Let me know what you think about Derrick Harmon. Let me know what you think about my take on Derrick Harmon. Like, subscribe, all of those things really help out the channel. Doing a draft profile every single day leading up to the draft, and I'm trying to do a 7-round mock draft every other day leading up to the draft. So follow along, subscribe, all those things really help out. Really means a lot to me. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.